Hi, and welcome to Astrology and Earth Magic. I'm Jennifer, and I am here to provide you with some astrological wisdom to take us through the month of May. So, we start off May with May 1st, and that's May Day, and that's when we celebrate Beltane. And I'm going to do a whole video on this, so you guys are going to want to subscribe and get notified and stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you're going to see who we name as our May Queen this year. Probably going to be the same one every year, but I think you'll enjoy it. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about the traditions and rituals and everything that goes along with Beltane. And you also want to set your alarms because you're going to want to get up nice and early and be the first one out. Go underneath an oak tree and wash your face with the morning dew because it's going to keep you youthful and vibrant. And you'll be really feeling beautiful as we start the month off because the second Venus will conjunct Neptune. And and that's going to be in the sign of Aries. And as Mars moves out of its post-shadow period, you may be a little ultra sensitive, even though you're going to be looking all dewy and beautiful. Maybe be feeling a little extra sensitive. Perception, fantasy, and raw desire all just kind of blends together, and just like you're just have this need to just like fulfill your dreams or whatever those may be at that time. So do I would say some work to open your third eye around that time. Work on that third eye chakra if you do it with meditation, with yoga, or even just using stones or gems, and just begin your spiritual journey. If your actual journey is on hold, you can do it spiritually if you're kind of in a stuck place at the moment. Kind of for your mind, let your mind take you for a little ride. That's the beginning of the month with that Venus conjunct Neptune. So on the 4th, Pluto will station retrograde, and that is just as it's sextiling Venus and close to Neptune as well. So Pluto has us just diving deeper into our subconsciousness, our desires, our dreams for a new life. There's something there. There's something deep down that's calling you, and this is what we're going to go down and find out. Is there also, you want to look at if there's a bad habit or an addiction or some kind of like a ball and chain that's holding you back, that is hindering forward motion. What is it that is keeping you from kind of going for it and doing the things that you want to do? So if there is, that's when you kind of want to go internally, and you have to just kind of see what those demons might be, what those things are that are holding you back. And it actually is a really good time to just start seeking out some help. If this is something that you've worked with and wrestled with on your own, this could be a perfect time to really reach out and get some help. There's a lot of online places, Better Health Online. So if you don't have anything close to you, you can always get some help that way and just kind of talk about things and work it through. On the 10th, Mercury moves into Taurus. So we need to have that clear head. So work on that in the beginning of the month. And then we'll start getting that clear head as Mercury moves into Taurus. And it brings us back down to earth, like where I am now, back down to earth. Oh, and I have a bug on me. And it also encourages us to just kind of use some common sense instead of just, flying by the seat of our pants that, we do and have a tendency to do when Mercury's in Aries and the sun's in Aries. So you want to also just get your head out of the clouds. Daydreaming time is over. Now we have to start being realistic. And that is what this Mercury in Taurus and the sun in Taurus really is encouraging us, that you want to have your feet rooted to the ground and really be grounded. On the 11th, we have Mother's Day. So what helps keep you grounded? A lot of our moms do. They kind of bring us down to earth. They give us our history. They give us our ancestry, and that's our home. And that's what makes us feel safe and loved. And so on that day, on Mother's Day, you want to take a little bit of time out for your mom, and you should do it anyway. But if you don't have time, do something a little extra special. If you don't live near them, maybe send them something nice. Definitely call. Don't just text, call. They'll love it. They want to hear it. If you don't have any money, make them something. My kids actually made me most of our Christmas presents this year, and it was fantastic because it's almost more special because they put that much more love into it. So you want to show your mom appreciation and love that day, or your mother figure. So if you or your mom is not in your life, but you have a mother figure or some kind of a feminine role model, do that with them. On the 12th, we have our first lunation. So this is the full moon in Scorpio, and that is at 22 degrees Scorpio, 12 minutes. So um, again, we're going to have a good video on that coming up. We'll really dig deep. Lots going on with that. That is a lot of passion. And along with that full moon, we have Mercury squaring Pluto. So Scorpio and Pluto working together is so much passion. And even it can be to the point of obsessiveness, like being obsessed about something. This could be lead to some difficulty with interactions with others, I think, because we do have that Mercury in there kind of with that square. And this could have a lot of conflicts. You could be, things that you're passionate about may be completely different than what others are passionate about, and that could lead to a little bit of back and forth there. And I mean, this is what's been going on all over the United States and pretty much all over the world as of late. So this is really not that big of a surprise that this is going to be a thing. So this is going to be, I think, really though, coming to a head at this point, and things can really get a little bit out of control because of people's deep passions and because people are really just feeling ultra sensitive and ultra passionate and ultra angry, and they want to get their point across. So we're going to see that in the form of protests, more of that, maybe people acting out, how they had acted out against Tesla dealerships and things like that. Hopefully it won't be destruction, but you just want to try and keep a cool head yourself. Mother's Day weekend, this is going to be around, so I'd probably keep it simple. If you are taking your mom out, maybe do some breakfast, have a nice calm day, maybe stay away from all the craziness. But funny thing about that, as I was looking at that day, I said, when you see all these protesters on TV, they're always older women, like older women, even older than me. And I'm pretty old, but so maybe your mom's going to be there. So maybe trying to get your mom out of all that craziness and just say, like, come on, mom, let's just go home. Let's leave this be for a little bit and maybe take her out of there if that's one of your moms. So I don't think it's going to be mine. Anyway, on the 16th, Mercury ends its post shadow period. And that is as dwarf planet Ceres moves into Aries. So with the sun in Taurus, it would be some very interesting developments, I think, because Ceres is, she's about nurturing and, what do you do to nurture people? You feed them, you take care of them. So it's a lot about food and agriculture. So I think we might see some developments in food and agriculture. Maybe some kind of invention is going to come out or something that is going to make things a little bit easier. We're going to hear something about it. Hopefully it won't be anything bad. Hopefully it'll be something good. We had that bird flu a little while ago that made the price of eggs go crazy. So hopefully it won't be anything like that. So hopefully we'll have some really interesting and positive developments in food and agriculture industry. And we're already seeing that too. I think some developments starting. I saw RFK Jr. coming out and saying he wants to get rid of dyes that are in things to try and keep people healthy. And I know from when I grew up, we didn't have a lot of the sicknesses that people have nowadays. Peanut allergies were unheard of. Like no one was ever allergic to peanuts. And, Down syndrome I know was a lot lower, but maybe it also, or not Down syndrome, uh, just mental disorders. I'm sorry. My mind is autism. My mind is drawing a blank. Sorry about that. So we didn't have as much of that. Maybe it wasn't as easily detected, but I think that taking some of that, like process things out of our food is really going to be helpful. So that could be some of these interesting developments that come with food and agriculture um, with Ceres going into Taurus, so or moving into Aries. So I think that that's going to be that forward movement into a push into making that change. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting, and hopefully for the better and the health of everybody. Also, you might really feel the need to protect those you love. Um, really, almost like that prove yourself that you're a good mother, that you're a good provider, that you're a good mother figure, that you're good at doing something that kind of maternal way, because you're going to have a little bit of that inner mama bear. You might be having some jealousy or maybe feeling a little bit like left out. Um, and you want to be recognized. And it's, of course, always nice to be recognized for the things that you do. Sometimes it does get overlooked. So, again, for Mom's Day, you want to recognize those who are your nurturer and who are your protector, and those who have kind of taken you under their motherly wing over the years. And this could be, our own moms. It could be just maternal figures in general, grandmas, even anything like that. Any kind of female or um, feminine kind of protector or somebody like that. On the 17th, the sun will come into conjunction with Uranus. So, again, on a larger scale, we're going to see a lot of rebellion and unpredictability. So, the beginning of this month, mostly through, is going to be a lot of unrest. So, we all knew that the beginning of this year was going to be a little bit crazy, and it is going to settle down, but it's still very tumultuous. Um, Things are not settled yet, and there's just so much going on, and this in the news, and then this comes out, and it's just one thing after another, and it's a big talking point after big talking point, and that's not going to stop. This is still going to be continuing on through most of May. So, there's going to be a lot of that rebellion and things that you don't expect might happen. So that's why I always gotta, I always say, kind of be aware of your surroundings, which I am right now, trying to be anyway. So you also personally may be feeling a bit stuck. Um, but we have practicality, and that keeps us motivated because we are being practical, and keeping motivated is key. It's almost like I like to think of it as, when you see the old cartoons and the donkey has like a stick with a carrot in front of it, and it just keeps moving, but it doesn't get any closer. So it might feel like that. It might feel like you're just like, I'm just going through the motions and I don't seem to be getting anywhere with this. But you want to just keep plugging on. If you know that there's an end game, and you know that there's some place you want to be, and there's that bright light, you want to keep going towards it. Another thing I liken it to is that if you guys have seen the movie Poltergeist, the original, of course, and the mother at the end of the movie is running down the hallway, and the hallway just keeps getting longer and longer, and she just runs and runs, and she's so tired, and then finally she starts gaining speed. Well, that's how this is going to feel. So you're going to be kind of hindered a little bit, held back, but then you're going to gain that speed, and you're going to be able to go. This really, a lot of that holding you back can be due to your inner conflicts, and subconsciousness and fear of change. That fear you desire might also, the the change you desire might also be what you're most afraid of. So you got to think about that whole sun conjunct Uranus. So it's like that's our drive, that's our motivation, that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for that change, but when it all of a sudden comes, are we going to be ready for it? So you want to make yourself mentally prepared. On the 18th, Mercury squares Mars, and Jupiter squares the North Node. A lot of squares going on here. So again, with the Mercury, you can't seem to get your point across. People just don't seem to be understanding what you're saying. They're misunderstanding what you're saying. It's like, and they're taking things the wrong way, twisting words around. Communication might come off as overly aggressive, even if you're not being aggressive. But it might be taken that way. Kind of like when you're reading a text and you take it one way, but the person sending it means it a totally different way. Well, this could be a form of communication where things kind of get read the wrong way. So you want to kind of really at this time, around the 18th, 20th, you want to pay attention to emails that you're sending. Make sure they're not being passive aggressive, or make sure you're not, saying things as a joke that might not be taken as a joke. Some people might at that time not take it that way. So be really aware of that. So, you know, because you could, especially if you're training somebody, or you're, you know, giving advice of some sort, you might come off as overly aggressive or overly preachy, kind of over the top in general. So, and that's that Jupiter square the North Node, kind of everything being over the top. um I'm right, you're wrong, and we really need to move out of that. We've had enough of that as of late, and we instead just like have a conversation. And if you can't have a conversation without it turning into something crazy, then don't have the conversation. Um, that's how I feel. Like there are some topics you just don't bring up sometimes. The last 3 months have been exhausting, and I know it's been like that mentally for everybody because of everything that's going on around the world, and just I'm just physically exhausted lately, and I just cannot get enough sleep. I just want to sleep all the time. But you have these things called work, and pets you have to take care of, and you have to get up and do your responsibilities. But one thing that can really help is maybe get away from the TV, turn it off for a little while, and just kind of get away to clear your head, because seeing that stuff, even if it doesn't really get you agitated, seeing the agitation of others can just add a little bit more weight and more exhaustion to you. And that can sometimes be a little bit much. Excuse me. You want to try and keep your mind calm, get out in nature like I am here. It's gorgeous. It went from freezing last week to 70s and 80s this week. So get out in nature as much as possible, especially in the woods if you can, before the bugs start coming up, starting to see things pop out of the ground. Appreciate that stuff. I've been doing a lot of foraging. It's lots of fun. So just kind of slow down, take in that Taurusy, appreciate the beauty around the world, because that is what's going to help keep you grounded, because that is what's going to be there when everything else could fall apart. On the 20th, the sun will move into Gemini. So we start finding out some answers. So now things start to kind of take a shift. And it goes from like a lot of miscommunication and a lot of, he said, she said, I'm not hearing you right. Why are you, attacking me? No, you're attacking me. It shifts. And because now we start finding out some answers, and things start kind of being illuminated and brought out into the open. What I like to say about Gemini is knowledge is power. We know how Geminis just like to learn and learn and learn everything they can. We also have the sun in a sextile with Saturn. So that's determined to get down to business, determined to get the answers. I'm going to pull the curtain back, and we are going to expose things. Work ethic is going to be strong. And if it's not strong, it's going to show. Like, it's going to be exposed. So if you're putting in a half-assed amount of work and you're just doing enough is enough, it's going to be exposed. And the ones that are putting in all the extra and working their butts off, they are going to get the recognition, because that is that sun sextiling Saturn. So you want to put in that extra work so you get that recognition. We're going to be pushing on with our goals. We want to really push, and the world around us is pushing their agendas. And as things start beginning to take shape, and you might be, okay, now this is starting to make sense. Okay, now this is starting to make sense. And this is in your own life, and this could be on a global scale. Things are going to start getting exposed. You're going to be starting to find out maybe why things are going the way they were going, and why it took a lot of upheaval to then get brought back down to change and that transformation that we've all been expecting that's going to be coming in the next couple years. So, and this paves the way for our big ingress of the month, and that is Saturn going into Aries on the 24th. So, again, subscribe, get notified, because we will be having a video on this. We're going to really be digging deep. Saturn is a biggie, you guys. Saturn can even be your best, either be your best friend or your worst enemy. And it will remain in Aries until 2028. So, and we haven't been there since about 1996 through 1999, and that's the last time that Saturn's been in Aries. So, again, you want to stay tuned and you want to look back if you're able. So this comes less than a month before our other social planet, Jupiter, changes its sign from Gemini to Cancer. And that's on June 9th. So we have everybody making moves. So now we've already had Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, and then Jupiter, and then, of course, Uranus is taken up the rear as the last one to make that change. And that's going to be like the biggie, I think, that just going to the end all be all. So Saturn will go from that kind of wishy-washy, maybe not taking things as serious as it should, maybe not being as mature as they should, to a more independent and like a courageous Saturn. And we will have more confidence in the steps needed to actively achieve our goals. And that's that push forward. That's that Saturn in Aries. And that is, you know, I'm going to do this. And that is that being motivated and being, on a mature and professional level, that like, I'm going to do this. So if you are old enough to remember what 1996 through 99 was like for you, and kind of what themes really kind of stood out back then, I would expect similar themes to be popping up now. Of course, maybe this time they'll be with a little, older, more mature twist onto them. But you definitely want to pull this up and see where Aries falls in your chart. So for me, it falls in my fourth house. So I know my goals, and they are definitely fourth house goals. And this has been before I've even been really thinking about it. So maybe in the next year, 3 years, I can make, 2.5 years, I can make these goals become reality. So think about where this falls in your chart, what aspects it's going to be making to your other planets, to your angles perhaps. That's going to be going right through my descendant, of course. So it's going to be really, not my descendant, my IC. So should be really interesting, and I'm really excited to see how this works out. Saturn usually is good to me, and it was the last time around. It did take me until after it changed to make that change, but I think that this is going to be really interesting. So you want to stay tuned for that video. We're going to have a little jump start at the beginning of this from the sun, and that's going to be in a trine with Pluto. So it's gaining more confidence to just really, get things moving. So your drive is going to be strong. If you can get rid of those distractions and setbacks out of your way. And now this can be a good start process to a process that can really take some time. Again, this could be 3 years in the making, till 1999. Could be until Saturn then moves into Taurus. But, so now you're making the moves, and then Taurus kind of solidifies them for you. So it could be 3 years in the making. Just know what you want and start making your way there. On the 25th, we have Mercury conjunct Uranus. So just before Mercury then moves into Gemini, and then sextiles Saturn. So this could be also a big change in our thought process, and maybe surprising news, something unexpected that brings things to light. This is gives us an ability to, because it's sextile Saturn, to face things again with grace, maturity, and not to kind of fly off the handle, to be a little bit more grounded. You also at this time could be almost a conduit for information to others, shed some light. Gemini is about, digging for the truth. Well, here it is. Now I'm going to let you know what it is. So Gemini new moon comes up on the 26th. So that brings seeds of knowledge. So you're planting those seeds of knowledge. So that could be, again, giving the information to somebody else, maybe starting a class, maybe you're teaching a class, maybe you're training people at work. So it could be that you're giving these seeds of knowledge to somebody else and they're going to have it grow inside of them, or you're taking them on, maybe starting a new project or something like that, that those seeds of knowledge in your own head are going to start to grow. Mercury, again, likes to get involved. And of course, Mercury, it rules Gemini, but it's also going to be sextiling Neptune. So, and then it will also trine Pluto before conjuncting the sun. So this could actually really be a complete 180 in our thinking process and the things that we think about, maybe the things that we believe. It could change your whole kind of outlook on life. Maybe, the way things go at work, maybe things go at home, maybe just the way that you look at the world around you could really put a big light on things and be kind of like a shocking revelation. I would not be surprised at that. Things that you're going to be learning about really could change your perspective on things. And this could be a shock heard around the world, or a realization that's in your own life that's going to really change you as a person. And I think that this is where we're all going to change and develop, and this is where it's all going to start before prepare us for when that Uranus makes its move. So you all want to pay attention. Pay attention to changes around you. Pay attention to changes in your mind. Write things down. Write them all the time. Now, I have this book. It's the Honeycomb and Astrology, and they make it up every year, and they put all the different transits to your own personal planets plus yours every day. Every day I look at that and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, and I write notes next to all of it, and I get one every year, and I keep my notes so that I can look back. Okay, last time this happened, I had this note. So, great thing to do is start taking notes down and pay attention. Lots are happening here in these early degrees of Aries. Sextiling Gemini, we have learning, growing, healing, gaining recognition. Um, we have in Aries, we have Saturn, growth, maturity, practicality, stability. We have Neptune, which gives us intuition and a different perspective on things. We have Ceres, compassion and nurturing, and that motherly love. Um, Agriculture, farming, that type of thing. Venus, love, beauty, money, knowing what in life truly matters. And finally, we have Chiron, and that is helping ourselves to heal so that we can then help others with all the knowledge that we've gained. So, and this is all sextiling the new moon on the 26th at 6 degrees, 5 minutes. Start that learning process, y'all, and gain the knowledge you need to start on that new path, or just grow and develop the path that you're already on. You don't have to change your life if that's not what you want. If you just want to develop the path that you're on, do that. If that's what your drive is, that's what you want to do. Remember the saying, knowledge is power. If you remember back in the day, dating myself back to the 70s, there was these videos called Schoolhouse Rock and knowledge is power, and they would sing funny songs to go, and you would learn conjunctions and I'm just a bill and just things like that. Lots of fun. But that is, knowledge is power, and they are correct actually with that. So the more that you know and the more confident that you will be. When you're learning a new job, you're not very confident, but then the more you get to know about it, the more confidence you have. And you just never want to stop learning. Learning just keeps your mind vibrant and fresh, and it keeps it just going. And yes, this month starts off, or not starts off, but continues a bunch of months of just a lot of unrest, uncertainty, and fear. Um, restless souls doing restless things. Don't get caught up in all of that. Kind of watch from afar if you have to watch on TV, or just like I am, get out in the woods, take your dog for a walk, and have yourself a little clear head. So, again, stay informed, y'all. Be sure to subscribe and get notified. We have lots of fun videos coming up. And please, it helps me along this journey as well. And that is a good thing for all of us, I think, to just kind of boost each other. So please let me know in the comments what your journey might be, and we can go through it together. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.